James Bond Skyfall, first released in October 2012, became an instant box office hit with revenues over $1 billion. James Bond Skyfall was directed by Sam Mendes, who had won an Academy Award and Golden Globes Award for Best Producer. It was written by Neil Purvis, Robert Wade, and J.B.R. Logan. The producer was Michael Wilson and Barbara Broccoli. The running time for this movie is 143 minutes. The plot line of James Bond Skyfall follows James Bond as a detective, an undercover detective, and the movie opens up with a very intriguing action car scene. And this is when James Bond is following and trying to catch a bad guy that he's hunting for. As the car chase continues, they eventually are fighting on top of a train which goes underneath a tunnel, where his very attractive sidekick shoots him, James Bond, in the back from a mountaintop. James Bond falls from a bridge into a river where the detective that shot him and their bosses think he's dead. A few months later, James Bond returns to London, to the base, the CIA base, where, to everybody's surprise, he's still alive after they had released him because they thought he was dead. James Bond is hired again and is very slow to trying to get back into the rhythm of things, but his task is to try to catch the man that he was trying to catch in his car chase at the beginning of the film. James Bond has several side chicks that he has several relations with throughout the movie. One of his chicks is shot in the face by the top suspect. The top suspect then ties up James Bond and actually begins to be very sexual with him. At this point in the movie, I was very weirded out. I didn't really see it coming. By the end of the movie, the main villain survived and is now chasing James Bond. James Bond is led to the house that he grew up in Scotland. The top villain somehow finds out that he lives there or grew up there, and he follows James Bond to that house. So the end of the movie is this crazy gunfight between James Bond and the VP of London CIA and his stepdad against the top villain and all his bad guys. The scene ends with the whole house being blown up by a helicopter that shoots it with a bunch of rockets. So it's a crazy fight, and eventually James Bond wins and shoots the villain. To close this movie review, I'm going to leave you guys with one quote that kind of captures the entire movie. That quote comes from James Bond himself, and it is, "Some men are coming to kill us, but we're going to kill them first." That's James Bond Skyfall for you. Thank you.
This is the end. Hold your breath and count to 10. Feel